Good morning, everyone. How are you? This is Sam and Kate in the morning for your typical Thursday morning advisor training series. So glad to have everybody with us this morning. Just want to make sure that we're okay and everybody can see the screen and things like that. Can you raise your hands for me and just show me whether or not you're in? Okay, good.
Great.
A lot of people I'm seeing, so thank you, thank you, thank you. Great. Well, we're happy to be with you this morning, and it's a little bit of a blustery day, kind of a little bit colder. Have my sweater on this morning, and we're enjoying the fall weather. So we thought we'd talk about doing and preparing for the sale and taking a look at some digital marketing assessment things. So we're going to kind of do a little bit of a different twist this morning. Kate, of course, is going to run us through a number of things, and we'll have some fun this morning. So that said, I'm going to turn the time over to Kate as far as any type of announcements or follow-ups. Just remember when you're scheduling an intake call, make sure that we're looking at about 48 hours before that call can be scheduled, and give 3 times that client is available so that operations has a choice, and we can make sure that we can actually get that client in to one of their preferred times, if you will. That would be awesome and great. So that said, that's the only little announcement that I have. But we'll go ahead and turn the time over to Kate.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks so much for being here with us today. Please, can I see by show of hands, can you guys see my screen okay? Is the screen sharing working? Okay, great. We're going to do something a little bit different today. I was trying to prepare some slides for this presentation for you guys, and I realized that what might work actually better is if we go through a live demo. We did that a couple of weeks ago on our Preparing for the Sale when we went through and evaluated a potential client's social channels. And I got a lot of feedback from you guys that you really liked that. So we'll go ahead and do that today and kind of focus on that. So again, as always, feel free to ask any questions as you go along, and we'll go ahead and get started. So I'm going to move over here to our form here that we've been filling out, our social media assessment that we've asked you guys to fill out on every potential client. And what we're going to be talking about today is this digital marketing section. And on the one hand, this is a really great section. It's got some really great information and everything. The only hard part about it is that it's kind of difficult to glean some of this information before you go into your sales meeting. So while you can evaluate their social channels and everything like that beforehand, some of these questions might be things that you need to ask once you get into your meeting. So some of them you can tell on your own. Others, like we can't really tell if they're running Facebook advertising unless that ad happens to show up in your newsfeed, or unless you have an admin access to their page, which is unlikely if you haven't actually sold them yet, right? So we're going to talk about a couple of ways that we can kind of investigate companies and look at them and get a little bit of a feel for what they're doing in digital marketing. But then you may have to actually go into your sales meeting and ask them some of these things, like, what are you doing for SEO, and what type of advertising are you running on Facebook, or things like that. So with that in mind, I've got a couple of companies here that we're going to take a look at. But if any of you have one that is maybe a potential client that you're going to be going into a sales meeting soon, and you need some help filling out this form, I'd be happy to help you, and we can do that as a group. So feel free to type that up in the questions. If you have their website, that would be great, and we can take a look at it. So things we're going to be looking at. You guys are all familiar with this form, but we're going to be looking at email marketing. We're going to be trying to tell if they have any advertising going, what campaigns or promotions they're running right now, Directory listings is a big one. We're going to be looking at how they show up in different directories around, Google versus Yahoo versus on our iPhone, etc. And see if maybe they're trying to do some SEO efforts or not, and kind of make a general observation from that. So with that in mind, we got a comment here from Mike. It sounds like we need to update the form on recommendations, which we can totally do. I maybe have an old copy of this form, so I'll talk to Chris about that. Just ignore the recommendations section, and we'll just focus on the digital marketing part for right now. All right. So with that in mind, the first company we're going to be looking at is a company that's local here in Utah. It's called Swig, and it's they've kind of gained fame here in Utah for their sugar cookies and their dirty Dr. Peppers. I know that's what Sam loves, right?
I love that.
So they basically...
Actually, this morning I got what is called Wild, which is Mountain Dew with mango puree in it. So there you go.
So this is basically a soda shop, right? And they've kind of gotten really popular here in Utah. They're doing pretty well on their marketing efforts, even without digital help from someone like us, but they're obviously someone that could really use our services. So we're going to go ahead and start by finding them, first of all, on Google. So we're just going to Google Swig and see what comes up. All right, so they're the first thing that comes up here. It shows me 3 different locations. That's pretty good. There's one in Draper. There's one up in Bountiful. They're kind of a big thing in the suburbs here in Utah. Mm-hmm. And so they've got multiple locations. They've got a website. So let's go to their website and take a look at that and see what we can glean. So you can see they've got, a pretty good website. They have social channels streaming already. I've looked at their social channels. They're doing a pretty good job. It's mostly pictures and different recipes of different drinks. Like I was mentioning, like the dirty Diet Coke. It's like Diet Coke with like lime and coconut or something in it, I think. I've never actually been there. I'm like the only person in Utah who has not been to Swig. But so they're doing an okay job, room for growth and everything, but we already done that part of the evaluation, right? We're looking just at what they're doing for digital marketing. So if you come up here, they've got their menu, they've got locations, they've got a blog. Let's check that out. Their online store is now live. Their website is now live. It doesn't look like they're really up to date on their blogging, right? So that's somewhere that we could really help them. And, even if they have Facebook and Pinterest and everything like that, an online blog is going to be really helpful for them. It's going to help with their SEO efforts, and it's going to, just provide more information for folks who are visiting their actual website. So that's one area where we'd want to mark on our form. No, they're not really blogging, even though they have technically a blog, but we can definitely help them. The other thing I wanted to look at is, do they have any email marketing? And it doesn't look like they do. They have a contact us form, so you can reach out to them and ask questions or anything like that, but they don't have something where you can sign up for specials or deals or, to get news from Swig every month. And that's something that I really recommend and that I feel like we could help them with is, we could send out for their monthly email a secret code word or something like that people could use to get a discount on a drink or whatever. So, get a free sugar cookie when you say, I'm thankful for Swig sugar cookies or something like that, right? So email marketing, it's something they're not doing, and it's somewhere that we could help them. And especially with companies like this, where they're not doing any email marketing, they are a prime example of someone who we want to be selling email marketing service to. Some of these companies may have a really sophisticated email marketing program already. And in that case, our email marketing is pretty basic and it might not be, a selling point for them. So that's something to watch out for is, it's definitely a great program and it gets the job done, but it doesn't have all the bells and whistles that some of the others might. So if there's someone who's using a Constant Contact or a MailChimp or something like that to send monthly emails, we probably want to have a really in-depth discussion with them about what their needs are and whether we can meet those or not, or if it would be better for them to stick with this other option. But someone like this who's not doing any email marketing at all, we can totally help them and we'd be a great option for them. So, all right, so one thing we've kind of, assessed a little bit about their website now. We're going to be looking, one thing I want to look at here is directory listings, because they have more than one location. So if I pull them up in Google, which we just had done, and we Google SWIG, so we see these different locations that come up. But I want you to look at the formatting on how these on how all of these are listed. Can you guys see this okay on the screen? So the one says it's from 165 South to 500 West. The other one says 437, 123rd South. Oh, that's like right around the corner. Okay, I don't know why, I've never been there before. But so we, here, knowing how Utah addresses work, know that it's 437 East, I'm assuming, 123rd South. But it doesn't say whether it's East or West. So that's an area where something like a directory cleanup is really going to be helpful to them, especially if they have multiple locations. We want to make sure that each of those locations can be found online and that it's meeting the format requirements for all the different directories. Remember, not everybody uses Google to look for things these days, right? A lot of folks are using things like Yahoo still, or whatever their web browser may be. So that's something that we want to look at. And Chris is pointing out that one of these cannot be in this actual location. So I'm not. Do you know why, Sam?
Well, he's just talking about the C,
Mm-hmm.
SWIG, and Juice Shop. He's saying 1351 East State Street, and that's
true, yeah.
north or
State
south.
Street.
It can't be
It
east.
runs in the wrong direction. So, well, and it also on the classification has them as a juice shop, where the others have them as a restaurant. So things like that are something where the directory cleanup can really come in handy, especially for something like this that has multiple locations. So that's one area that, again, you don't have to do any like crazy corporate espionage to be able to find that out. You can just look on their website and see that, oh, hey, they've got some directory stuff going and they need some cleanup. That is a really good point, Chris. I hadn't thought about that.
Well, and also if you notice here, like she was just saying, we've got two that say restaurant. We've got another one that says juice shop. They're really not a restaurant at all. It's not a place that they go in. They are a juice shop. So making sure that they're consistent and that message is consistent definitely is important for them moving across the board.
Yeah, you don't want to have it where someone from out of town plugs it into their phone or something looking, or Yelp or something looking for a restaurant, and they show up at SWIG and all they have is like sodas and sugar cookies.
Yeah.
Which, if that's what you're in the mood for, that's perfect. But
right. They've got
do they just have IVs of sugar too?
Well, no, they've got brownies and they've got some sugar cookies and things like that. But yeah, that's really all that they have.
So anyway, so obviously that's something to be looking for. So the other thing I want to talk about is in their SEO effort. Now, they were the first thing that came up when I Googled just SWIG. I think it noticed my location, it noticed where I was, it noticed that that's probably what I was looking for. But if you scroll down a little bit, the next thing is the Simplified Wrapper and Interface Generator. It's a software development tool. Obviously, that's probably not what I am looking for. Another thing here is SWIG, a community for drinkers. That's for brewmasters, bartenders, cocktails with friends, and stuff like that. Clearly, that's quite a bit different from the soda shop that we're talking about here. So while they do have SEO here looks like in place maybe on Google. There are definitely some other things competing that have the same name, and so we want to make sure that that local SEO is working really well, so that when people Google something around them, they know what they're talking about. What I want to do here is I want to go to a different search engine. So we're going to go over here to Yahoo, because that's still very, very popular. And we're going to search for Swig. Let's see what happens. Yeah. Okay, so there's the Swig treats, smoothies, and more. They're still showing up on the first page, so that's pretty good. So it sounds like they probably have some sort of SEO thing going on for them, and it's working pretty well. So that's probably, when we get into the sales meeting, we'd want to ask them about that, but we also, could see if we have areas that we help them. The other thing we could do is look up Soda Shop. So if you Google or Yahoo Soda Shop, does anything come up for Swig? And it doesn't. And same probably with Google. So it looks like they're doing pretty well if you Google their exact name, but if you look for a phrase that people might use when trying to find it, that's not what comes up. So here's one, 11 soda shops in Utah that will satisfy your sweet tooth, but it doesn't have Swig itself. So some areas there where we could probably help them with some SEO too. All right, so we've looked at their email marketing. We know they don't have any. Advertising is one that we want to look at. So now that I've looked at all these things on Google and Yahoo and everything, I'm going to go back to my Facebook page. So you guys can you guys all get to see my crazy Facebook page here for a minute. But what oh, look, someone had a baby. That's great. All right, what we really want to look at is down here in this corner at the sponsored posts. These are the Facebook ads. And normally, if you've been looking at something online, you will start seeing those things pop up in your Facebook ads. I haven't, and I actually was looking at Swig last night before we did this. So you would think that if they had a Facebook ad going, I would be seeing something here. I'm not right now. Looks like maybe my husband was Googling something, because those all look like things he would be interested in. So yeah, that's a great option to, since we don't have admin rights to the page, if you want to see if they're doing any Facebook advertising, play around on their website and everything, and then go back to Facebook, because that's the whole point, right, of Facebook advertising. If they're doing it well and you've just been on their website, you should be seeing a Facebook ad for them. So I'm guessing that they probably don't have Facebook advertising, or if they do, it's not, their search terms that they're using are not as strong as they should be. So let's go back, sorry. Google. All right, any questions so far? Everybody doing okay? All right, so we can't be sure whether they have any Facebook advertising or not, but we're kind of guessing not. So again, don't fill out that part of the form until you actually get into the meeting and can ask them for sure. But you can have a pretty good feel that they probably aren't doing it. And you can say like, hey, I've been looking at your website and everything, and when I went to Facebook, I didn't notice that you had any ads. So do you have any ads going? If you do, maybe you could use a little help in tweaking them to reach the correct audience, things like that. So anyway, based off of this, we can go off of pretty much fill out most of this form, or at least have a good idea of what they're going to tell us when we get into the meeting. We know that they don't have any email marketing. They do sort of have an email capture system that's a contact us tab, but it doesn't look like they're utilizing that for anything. We don't think they have Facebook advertising. They might, but we'll ask them. We're not sure what current campaigns or promotions they have, because they're not mentioned on their Facebook page or on their website. We know that they could use some help with directory listings, because clearly they have at least one location that's incorrect, and the formatting on their locations is different. Analytics and reporting, again, we would need to ask what types of tools they're using for that, and let them know that we can offer them analytics and reporting if they need help. SEO efforts, we think they're probably doing okay, but we could definitely help them out a little bit more. We know they're not blogging and that they probably should be, and give them kind of some ideas for some content, like, hey, let's start talking about some of these recipes or whatnot. Obviously, there's kind of a question as to whether you want to give away your proprietary information like that. But I don't think Sam has time every morning to make up a mango puree and put it in his Mountain Dew. So he's probably going to keep going to Swig. So anyway, so again, we couldn't really get a definitive answer on these, but I hope that shows you that you can get a lot of information even without having access to the back end of their system. Obviously we don't have access to their Facebook ad manager or things like that, so we can't tell if they're doing that. But, we've gleaned some helpful information, and we can get into more details when we get into into the sales meeting.
Which would also really be helpful, because what that really does is, after you've done all of this homework, then when you're in the sales meeting, you know exactly actually which questions to ask, which are really type of leading questions, if you will, in the sales process, meaning you can guide them a little bit with your questions and have definitive answers of yes or no, or yeah, I know that we need to do that better, so that they're already realizing when you come up with the solution that that's what they need. So now it becomes that was their idea instead of you trying to just push it onto them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the other thing that's nice is it makes you seem really smart, because it shows that you really did your homework, right? And we've been talking a lot about that's really important in the sales process, that these folks want to feel like you already know something about their business and everything. And so if you already know that they're not doing email marketing, and hey, I checked out your blog, it looked like you had a couple of entries that haven't posted in a while, that's something we could really help you with. That's going to be really powerful in the sales meeting. I do have a question here. So it says, can we do Facebook ads that are targeted at people who have visited the website? And yes, that's correct. And the follow-up question, is that the targeted ad placement portion of the target and contest packages? And I believe so, yes. So Derek, our contests and advertising manager, you guys have met him before on a few of these sessions. He is really great at figuring out what tags to use for a specific demographic or whatever. So, we want people not only who have visited the existing website, but also people who have Googled search terms that are similar to the website. So whether they've actually visited the Swig website, or if they just Googled soda shop, or where do I get a Mountain Dew in Utah County, we want to have tags for those different things. And Derek is really great at that, about tagging a broad enough audience that you'll still get people to see your ad, but making it focused enough that folks will, it's relevant to you when you pull it up. So did you have something you wanted to add, Sam?
Yes, I did. With this question, really there's actually two different folds to this question. We can target certain demographics, a geographics portion on Facebook when we do the ad, but we can also have the direct go to their website. So what we're doing is we're targeting people on the Facebook page, but we can direct them to the website itself. So it is a like pay-per-click campaign, if you will. But with Facebook, as all of you know, it's you can do so much more with it, because you can target a demographics, you can target age, you can do a lot of different things in zip codes. So it becomes very, very applicable to that. Then on top of that, you have another aspect of the advertising where we're pushing and accentuating all of their people on Facebook itself, and reaching their friends and family. So we're leveraging that audience as well for greater exposure and greater net, if you will. So hopefully that's helpful as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on and we'll do one more business. Do any of you guys have one that you'd like us to feature, or you want me to go ahead and just do the one I was thinking of? If you have one, raise your hand. Okay. Why don't you, I see a couple hands coming up. Why don't you guys go ahead and in the questions, tell me, enter the name of the business and hopefully their website if you have it. Sorry guys, I know I'm kind of springing that on you last minute, but hopefully this is a little more helpful than just some slides. I think actually going through it and doing a live demo is kind of good. So, all right. I'm going to go ahead and do this one really quick, and then if you guys have another one, we can certainly do that too. This one will be pretty fast. So this is a business. This is actually owned by my husband's aunt, who is like the nicest, most wonderful person ever. But I was noticing that she needs a little help with this sort of thing. So we're going to do a little bit of evaluation on her. So her business is called Urban Blues, and it's a clothing store. Okay, great. So her website is the first thing that comes up. Her Facebook page is next. Looking good. This is her in Canyon Rim. Looking really good. So let's go to her website. Oh, well, that's not so good. It's under construction. So obviously right there, it's a great opportunity if you're in a sales meeting like this to say like, okay, hey, I saw your website was under construction. Are you, doing any of these things? So something like email marketing, if they're building a new website, they might not have that built into their website already. That's a great opportunity to be able to say like, hey, well, while you're building a new website, do you want to put in an email capture tool? And we can send out a monthly email for you. Or if they need help with their website too, we're happy to do that too. But clearly, they just have their store locations and everything. Again, I want you to notice they have 3 store locations. So, and this is where I should have the webcam on. Sam and I were having an argument earlier about whether we should have the webcam. But I actually looked at Urban Blues in my phone on Apple, and it only shows 2 locations, but there are 3. And the funny part is, it actually doesn't show the location that is closest to me right now. So clearly, even if they have their locations listed on Google or whatever, which they may, let's go back and look at that again. Okay, so they have 1 location here listed. They have 3 locations. So they could clearly use some help in the directory listings section. And again, especially on a business where there's more than 1 location, that is huge. So next thing I want to look up is I'm going to start looking for some of the key search terms that other people might use if maybe they don't know for sure they want to go to Urban Blues, but they know they want to buy whatever they have. So if we look for women's jeans, I should look for women's jeans, Salt Lake City. So, okay, here's some different places. Obviously, these are big brands and everything. But yeah, Urban Blues isn't coming up. And that's kind of their thing. They want to be like the jeans store. That's where you go if you need jeans. So clearly they could use some help with some SEO, especially some optimized local search and things like that. So clearly, people in New York City who are searching for jeans are not going to want to find Urban Blues on the first page of Google. But if you're a local person, it'd be great if you could find that there. So we know they don't appear to have any email marketing right now. We could go into the store and see if they have an email sign-up list there. That's something I'd really recommend if you can, if there's a physical location of the place you're going. Some people keep a paper copy of an email marketing list. So they could have something like that. Doesn't look like they're doing any Facebook advertising. Don't see any campaigns. They definitely need help on directory listings. Doesn't look like they're blogging because they don't have a blog going on their website. They do have some really good stuff going on their Instagram and Facebook account, but there's still some things that we could do to help them there. So anyway, so clearly there's a lot there, even though we don't have access to their again, to their data, that we can tell like, oh gosh, well, they could use some help there. We can send out an email that talks about your latest sale. We need to be writing blogs for you about what the gene trends are for the next couple months. We need to get your directories cleaned up so that people can find you and know where you are when they're searching for shopping things. So that gives some good options there. Okay. Sam, do you know the answer to this question?
Is it just 75 hours to work on someone's site? As far as sales and $75 to work on the site, it really kind of depends. If we're doing some type of content on it, it really kind of does vary. So we're working, and we have some new processes and new things that we're working through actually on websites to streamline things to make that a little bit better. So just by case basis, it really kind of depends the workload that it would be. The $75 really kind of pertains to writing content and specific content. So if that's helpful.
John has a good question here. Wouldn't SEO cleanup be a one-time thing? And the directory cleanup is kind of a one-time thing, but then the problem becomes that there's new things added to directories all the time. There's constant updates. So it is one of those things where if you turn it off, you're going to start seeing those numbers go back down again and weird stuff creep in and everything. Same with SEO. Sam has seen some amazing stuff with folks that we've done things with where, they're super high on the website rankings. They're doing great. Everything's going good. We turn off, they go, okay, great. I don't need this anymore. Turn it off and their numbers just plummet. So it is an ongoing thing that they have to keep doing to keep it going.
Remember with SEO, it is maintenance. And it is always about the crawlers and about the spiders that are going out on the web to really find those pages. And a lot of times what we have in our services, the index pages, really make sense. And we optimize those business pages in our package so that the crawlers can find those indexes. It's just like really going to the library and going to the index card section and being able to find something very quickly. I mean, so that's really what SEO is all about, is trying to keep things indexed and trying to stay current and really top the class, if you will. And that really kind of depends on reputation as well. And so our reputation aspect, when I say reputation, I really mean popularity. But you want to be the popular kid in the class, or the popular book on the stand. And it's kind of like the New York Times bestseller list type of thing. That's really, it's very similar to that, and that's a good way to actually explain it to your clients as well, because sometimes SEO is out there and it's a nebulous of, okay, that's so intriguing, but I have no idea what it's all about. But if you kind of describe it as, look, it is an indexing system and also kind of the best seller popularity, that's really the best way to do it.
And Sam brought up the library aspect, and you guys, I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm a total nerd about libraries. My master's degree is actually in library science, so I get really excited about library stuff. But one of the things that we really talked about when I was in getting my master's degree about libraries, and this is a great parallel for a website, is, you get a book into the library, you catalog it, you put it into circulation, it's there on the shelf and everything. It's easy to find. Someone, they can look up the call number, if they know the Dewey Decimal System, they know right where to go, right? So they check out that book, they bring it back. Well, the problem is that, what if that book gets shelved in the wrong place the next time it's checked out? Even though it's in that catalog, no one can find it if it's on the wrong shelf or whatever. So part of what they do at the library, if they have downtime, is they do what's called shelf reading, where you go along the shelf and just make sure that everything's in the right place, because you never know. I mean, I don't know if you've ever taken small children to the library, but they take something off the shelf and put it back in the wrong spot. Adults do it too.
You've never had that happen, Kate. What are you talking about?
Things like that. And the whole idea is that that information and that data doesn't do anyone any good if they can't find it when they need it. It could be sitting there, you go to check out a library book and it's sitting there. It says it's sitting on the shelf. It should be there. But if you go to the actual shelf and you can't find it, it doesn't do you any good. And it's the same with these online tools. They need that constant maintenance because things change, the algorithms change, the formatting for how they're going to list different addresses or whatever changes. And so they need to be updated so that people can find them. All right. Sorry, guys, a little tangent there. We've got a licensee who has a great a client that they're going to be trying to sell. And so we're going to go through and do this evaluation on their website. So it's this company called Video. So they've got a really nice website here. First thing that sticks out to me is they have a blog. So let's check that out. And look at that. They actually posted something today. That's awesome. So they've got some good blogs. Blogs are a little long, but that's okay. So they're doing a pretty good job as far as their blogging goes. That's definitely something. And again, remember that, like, just because they're doing it well doesn't mean we can't still help them. Maybe it's really annoying for them that, this person, Kim, who's writing their blogs, maybe that takes a ton of her time and they really wish that they could free up some time for her. We can totally still do blogs for them, or they can keep their own if they'd rather do that. That's either one is a possibility. But don't let that scare you off from saying, be sure you acknowledge it and say, hey, I saw your blog. You're doing a great job. Or is that taking a lot of your time? Or, is that something you're hoping to offload to someone else, or do you like keeping that in-house? Great opportunity, and again, shows that you know that you've done your due diligence and you know what's going on with them. Let's see if they have, as we scroll down here, do they have a way to contact them? You've got some white papers, events, announcement. You've got get a free trial, request a demo, contact sales, but I'm not seeing anywhere that you can really, get signed in. So let's look here. Okay, they've got a whole thing here, video conferencing expert. So that's pretty good. They've got an email address. So they probably are using some sort of email marketing. It looks like if you sign in, they've got a pretty sophisticated thing going right now. So that looks pretty good.
Notice here also on the request a live demo, the stars or the red aspects have to have fields that need to be filled in. So you can't get started. If we were to leave one of those out and hit the get started piece, it would prompt us that we'd have to fill that in. So they are capturing the email address.
Yeah, they're actually capturing a lot of data. And that is one thing that you could suggest as a possibility is, people tend to not like to fill out really long forms. So if all you are capturing is their name and their email address, the chances are that they're much more likely to fill out that form. So that's something that we could help with. If you want to put in your email address, I would recommend doing that beforehand, to get a demo and see what you get back from as far as an email goes or whatnot. So email marketing, it looks like they are doing some stuff there. They've got some capture in place. Let's go look at their directory listings. Now, for these guys, it's going to be a little bit different because they're not necessarily like a physical business, right? They're a tech company. And so really, it's not going to matter so much, if they have a location or whatever. They do come up early on in Google. They don't have any locations listed. So directory listings is probably not as good of an option for them. SEO, it looks like maybe they're doing okay. Let's try, instead of Googling their name exactly, let's do video conferencing. and see what comes up. Ooh, so kind of a lot of other companies come up. GoToMeeting, which is what we're using right now. Some other things, Zoom, WebEx. This is a big market right now, and so they've got a lot of competition in that area. So that's something where definitely we could help them, as particularly given like whatever type of business size they want to use or whatever. So we know they're doing some email marketing and they've got some email capture. We don't know about advertising on Facebook. We'd have to go check that out again, and we'll go look at that here in just a minute. Directory listings, they probably don't need help with. SEO efforts, they could definitely use a little help. And their blogging is really, really good. But we can still help them, right? So let's go back to Facebook and see if we've got any ads for video conferencing. There's that baby again, very cute. Okay, no, oh man, my Facebook ads are late. They're still trying to sell me Halloween costumes for my kids. But again, yeah, so doesn't look like they have any, and obviously this is one of those ones where a couple days from now, something might show up. So you can't definitively answer whether they have Facebook advertising in place or not. You're gonna have to end up asking. But if you do happen to see a Facebook ad, that is good, and then you know. So anyway, overall, I would say on their digital marketing, they're doing pretty well. So we can definitely help them with some of these things by, taking effort off of their plate. And that's what I would suggest is if you get into one of these calls and you're like, gosh, they're doing a great job, I don't know how we can help them. That's the biggest thing, is saying, you are doing great, great work, but it's probably taking a lot of resources and a lot of time from your company. If you offload it to us, we can do just as good of a job, and it'll free up some time for your folks in your office. So, that way you don't have to have someone who's blogging all the time. Because if that's not your primary job, that probably takes quite a bit of time to write a blog entry. I mean, I know even for our professional writers, it takes, an hour or two usually, especially, if it's something that we have to research and do a little reporting on beforehand, that's going to take even more time. So, again, even if they're really good on this digital marketing platform, selling them that opportunity that we can help you and free up some time is really going to help. Sam, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
I don't. No, that's great.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have any other questions about this digital marketing section of the form? Again, I know it's a little nebulous, and it's kind of one of those where it's hard because you can go through their Facebook page and you can tell exactly how often they're posting and what their graphics look like and things like that. But some of these are a little harder because you can't get definitive answers unless you have access to their page and everything. So, and again, once you get into a sale and, we bring them on board, this is another great opportunity to upsell the customer. Once they come on with a content package or something, to be able to say like, well, hey, why don't we get some Facebook advertising going for you or whatnot? It can really take their stuff to the next level.
Right.
All right. Sam, anything you wanted to say?
No, other than just to accentuate what Kate has said here too, I was doing this with a client and looking into a client's spots yesterday, as a matter of fact, as well. And it's A through Z Home Watch in Florida. They have a corporate website that things direct to, but they also have their own personal site. And the question really was, she was getting feedback. We do their social media, but she was getting feedback that she needed some SEO and wanted to target some SEO. But as we dove into it and I asked questions and kind of come up with the best solution and the best piece for her, it really came down that we needed to do Facebook advertising with a targeted advertising spot, which we could actually direct people to her website. And so that's why this is so important is really you can dial down and use both of our services and really come up with what is best for the client. So you're not really just selling them something that won't be useful. So our whole piece that we came up with is she has a demographics of really the Home Watch is dealing with homes and taking care of their homes, cleaning for these rental homes or these second home vacation homes in Florida. So her age category was 50 to 70, and she wanted to have 2,000 square feet that she wanted to target. So you can see we dial in the demographics and really the aspect of what does it mean and what type of target are we going to advertise to. And we are going to drive people to her website through the Facebook aspect. So that is the part that's really kind of crucial, is really kind of seeing what the customer really needs. By doing your homework here on the digital marketing aspect, as Kate has taught you so well today, that is really going to help with your sales and how you go about it.
Yeah. And the other thing I would say to what Sam was saying is we really get in that situation a lot where clients say, oh, I need to do SEO. And this might happen to you in the sales meeting. I need SEO. I've heard about it. I need it. Well, really, and we've talked about this before, showing up on the first page of Google results in Nebraska when your business is in California isn't really going to make a big difference. That's super expensive to get that level of SEO, and it's not really going to bring people into your brick and mortar store. So something that we're trying to do with this digital marketing assessment as we go through this is really dial down and figure out what's going to be the best help for them. So obviously, where we were talking about Swig, where they're a local business and they need people to come in, actually into their store, that directory listing is going to be huge for them. And it's a really affordable option that a small business like Swig could afford. Something like video that Neil was having us look at, they don't need directory listings. They're an online company, so that's not going to fit them. Do they need, global SEO? They're definitely a better candidate for something like that. So that's part of what you're trying to figure out here is, what their reach is and what's going to be the best product for them so that, because a lot of times, remember, they just have heard about, oh, I need to be on social media. I need to be on SEO. I need to know, and they might not even know what SEO stands for, but they've heard that they need it. So that's really the point of this section is, we want to find the best fit for them and that's going to help them the most. So as we go on, we're going to talk later in a future session about recommendations. Once we've filled out the form, what do we recommend to people and how do we get them to, the best fit for their particular business. So we'll talk about that in a future session. For now, we'll go ahead and sign off unless there are any other questions. Oh, we've got one from Anne Marie. How do you find the companies you're evaluating? Is there a specific size of business you find to be more receptive to the services?
No. It really, again, Anne-Marie, it really kind of depends. For example, the A to Z Home Watch is a smaller company. They have a limited budget. So one of our packages definitely fits into what their budget is. But really kind of honing in on what aspect they need is just always the best play. In larger businesses, their requirements could be something different. But in this little case that we did, it found that the SEO packages wouldn't be quite as effective as the Facebook ads were, because I guess the other part of that I didn't that I failed to help everyone realize and visualize is they have snowbirds right now that really trail in till April. So she's trying to hit her audience and stay captured there until April itself. So that's really just the importance of how looking at the target, looking at what they need is so important.
And the other thing I would add is that generally small to medium businesses are going to be more receptive, just because a lot of larger businesses are going to have a full-time person to do their social media. So that's, as it's becoming more and more of a trend, if you're a large enough business, you probably have a social media person or a social media team that does that work for you. And really, that is the best way to go. If you can afford it, it makes sense to have your own in-house social media people to do it for you. We're kind of the next best thing for a business who, if you only have 5 employees and your receptionist is doing your social media, we're really going to be able to help you a lot, right? So generically speaking, I would say that small to medium businesses are more receptive, just because larger ones tend to have someone on staff doing that already. But that doesn't mean we can't do large businesses. We do them all the time. If you have found a large business that doesn't want to spend that money to hire a full-time person and provide benefits and everything, we can totally do that for them and are a great alternative. All right. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. I'm sorry we've gone kind of long today, but I hope you found it useful. Again, feel free to follow up with Sam or I if you have any questions or if things occur to you as you're laying in bed tonight and thinking about today's session. We're happy to follow up with you however we can. So we'll talk to you all soon, and good luck out there. We're hoping you can bring in some more sales, and we're just here to support you however we can. Thanks.